Some belated thoughts on South Africa against Japan then. A game that I wasn't able to watch at the weekend because of the ridiculous scheduling of these games, meaning it was on at the same time as England-Australia, which was the game that was on in the sports bar in Chicago that I was in. But I do have some thoughts, and I mean, it was a beatdown from Japan's point of view. There's not a great deal to dissect when you look at Japan's performance. They just could not live with the power of the box. But there's definitely some thoughts you can take away from this as we look ahead to what is going to be one of the best games of the year, one that I will be at and I cannot wait for. France against South Africa, a rematch of that absolute epic 2 years ago in the Rugby World Cup quarter-final. One of, if not the, best rugby match we've ever seen. And if it lives up to even a fraction of that. And at the weekend, Ireland, New Zealand did not live up to the game at Soldier Field 9 years ago. Hopefully, this game in Paris on Saturday night lives up to the game that we saw 2 years ago. And let's have a look. And I'm going to brave playing you a little bit of game footage to illustrate my points. And I just hope that whoever's guarding the footage online is just looking at the bigger picture and realizes that I'm trying to build excitement. I'm trying to use the content fair use to try and illustrate some points and hype up the game this weekend. So I'm going to give it a go and let's see what the guys with the copyright strikes do. Fingers crossed. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. If you appreciate the content on the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Leave your thoughts down below. Hit subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I had so many comments from Saturday night onwards saying, where's the South Africa-Japan full-time video? Well, there's a couple of things there. Firstly, as I've already mentioned, the game was on at the same time as other matches. I cannot watch. I only have one pair of eyes, and the game that was on in the Chicago bar I was in was England v Australia, which is absolutely the game I wanted to watch. And yes, I could have gone back to my hotel room after the Ireland-New Zealand game and just sat on a laptop and watched the South Africa-Japan game and then given my thoughts. But I was in Chicago with my friends on my mate's birthday weekend. I wanted to go out with them. So I spent all day from Monday night to Tuesday evening travelling back. And I've been out to coach my university rugby team today. And yeah, I have watched the game and now I've got some thoughts and partly hyping up to the game this weekend. And my main thought was this was as much as you look at a score like 61-7 and you think, wow, South Africa must have just done some wild attacking play. There were moments of brilliant attack. Quite often when the picture out there on the field, there was chaos. It was from those moments of transition when there were opportunities and gaps spotted. And some of the tries were from deep inside South Africa's own half. However, that is not the story of this game. The story of this game is that actually South Africa delivered an 80-minute performance of classic Springbok rugby. That is my view on it. And part of that was the conditions demanded it. It was greasy, it was wet, but I'm sure part of it was preparation for France. I mentioned it in a video the other day. Rassie Erasmus is currently following one account on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, and that account is France Rugby. I think the little signal to the world is my one focus is France, and this game against Japan was about preparing for France. And they prepared quite nicely. And it was leaning into classic Springbok DNA. The fundamentals were on point. The line-out was spot on. The maul was powerful and tying in opposition men. And tries came directly from it. The scrum was winning penalties again, and that gives you field position for more line-outs, more mauls. A lot of the gain line carries were round the corner from forwards. They were one out. They were inside centres punching up. Fairly simple rugby, but so effective. And there were a lot of kicks as well. You look at that first 5 minutes again, and the only time that South Africa did anything other than kick was when they had penalty advantage. And the pressure that they applied, I've used the analogy of a boa constrictor before, and they just brought that to life. It is so oppressive playing against this South Africa team whose discipline is really good. Their line speed is really fast, but they're not offside. Their tackles are really aggressive, but they're always low. These are the basics. You know, I do a bit of rugby coaching. These are the basics that, I mean, yes, you can coach it, but actually I think a lot of it is these are just really intelligent rugby players. But there's obviously a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make to be able to do those things, to be able to smash people hard and get off the line really fast, but the tackles not be illegal and not be offside is fantastic. And it just builds pressure. And then the kicking game for territory builds pressure. The kick chase is oppressive and that builds pressure. And so many times Japan were looking up and there was a whole field full of green bodies all on their feet, all waiting for the next one, saying, yeah, what are you going to do? And there was no answer. It's so impressive. Sia Khaleesi got that first try off the back of that pressure, went to the corner, maul, try. And then straight after that, Japan's first attack of the game and a really intelligent counter-ruck from Jesse Creel. And Japan like to play fast. And this is me starting to think about France and what South Africa were preparing for. That they went after... Well, no, actually, it's not that they specifically went after the breakdown. It's just they've got really, again, intelligent rugby players that identify this is the moment, go for it. And Jesse Creel identifies that moment, blasts through, his teammates follow through, get the turnover, and then straight away, even though there's fast ball, even though there's turnover ball and there might be space, without hesitation, Sacha FM, crossfield kick, finds grass, and the pressure is back on. And you look at that opening spell, first 25 minutes, it was bomb, it was box kick, it was big defence forcing turnovers. And anything in their own half, bomb, goes straight up. And then they win penalties from it. And then even with counter-attack ball, instantly, the one that led to Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu's own try was instantly counter-attack ball from deep, straight up with the bomb. I mean, it wasn't the best kick, but it was made a brilliant kick because Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu's chase was outrageously good. How fast is that guy? And he put the pressure on, scored the try. I mean, you know what? Rugby is as complicated as you want it to be, but fundamentally, it's really simple. If you apply territorial pressure, if you apply physical pressure, then you force errors, and then you build a lead. And South Africa were 14-0 up, and they did the same thing again. Maul, hit it up in midfield, kick the ball for territory, force the error, and then on top of that, you've got all these absolute fundamentals working so well, and then you've got a little bit of stardust sprinkled on top. The Sacha FM show on this occasion, and I definitely want to talk about him in a moment in light of what some of the chat seems to be around Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. Sacha FM, my favourite radio station. But, fundamentals. Because I've talked about the fundamentals of the box kick, the kick chase, the defence, discipline. The line out was spot on. The scrum was winning penalties. And in greasy conditions, in tight games, these fundamentals are magnified. And in Paris on Saturday night, they are going to be. 19-0 up, and South Africa hit narrow at 12, forward pod run round the corner, and then they go to the sky straight away. At no point, however many points they were up, at no point did South Africa shift from the script of good, discipline, solid, build pressure, build a score rugby. And in that first 25 minutes, they kicked almost every possession that they had. Japan, they had a bit of an attack. They had that line out on their own line with a bit of deception. And the Sacha show continued with a bit of defence, an absolutely brilliant read that probably stopped a certain try. And then scrum penalty got them an entry to the 22, and they got that penalty try from another powerful maul as well. But all the great attack, and it was an 80-minute performance, and it carried on through the second half. But for all that attack, that defensive stand at the end of the first half will have really, really pleased the coaches, and the fact that they were bringing that to the game. The Visa turnover, I think it was, towards the end. The defence was magic too. And that defence puts the exits of Japan under pressure as well, which gives them better field position, which is what led to Vilko Loh's try. Just pressure. And then the pressure valve has to blow at some point, and Vilko Loh scores. The French, when I think about this weekend and how France play, they're a team who, with quick ball, get their big men winning gain line, And that means the defence is on the back foot, and then they're able to play fast. There's pockets of holes around the breakdown, and France will just hit go time, or the space will be on the edges, and they'll just go pass, 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 and it's gone. That is how France play. And this pressure game that South Africa bring with the line speed and slowing up the ball with intelligent counter rucks, with finding grass with kicks, with putting real kick pressure on, slows everything down, and means that France aren't able to get into their game. Well, they didn't let Japan in this game. They'll be hoping they don't let France get into their game at the weekend. The arrogance try came from a bomb, which caused chaos, changed the picture in front, and then away you go. And then again, straight from the restart after that try, the bomb goes up. Great kick chase, forces a penalty, field position, line out, maul. Andre Esterhuizen scores a try. I think he had one disallowed, didn't he, as well? But scores a try. And even 47-7 down, Japan were in a position where they were looking up, and all they were seeing was a well-organised defensive green wall in front of them. And, I mean, part of that is little moments like, I love the moment. It's the sort of one that won't feature on highlight reels, but I just love how intelligent Cheslin Kolbe is at covering the backfield. Because Japan, they don't have numbers. So the 10's looking up going, what do I do? Cheslin Kolbe looks like he's running up into the defensive line, so Japan kick it, but Cheslin Kolbe, quick as a flash, has read the game brilliantly, and he's back to cover it. And from that, like a punt returner in American football, finds his little lane, off he goes. Arendse in for an absolutely brilliant try. Like I say, rock solid fundamentals and a little bit of stardust. The very next breakdown after that kickoff, back they go to the skies. Even though they're like points up, the game is beyond doubt. They wanted to absolutely turn the screw and put in an 80-minute performance. And the defence is backed. It gets the turnover, and then it's go time. And the end of the game summed it up. Japan start an attack. Phase 1, they go back 3, 4, 5 metres. Phase 2, back another 6 or 7 metres. Phase 3, they only manage to get the gain line. There's an interception. Then Japan get the ball back, but they've lost a load of territory. They've got no other option. Kick the ball away, and it's go time. Raw speed. It's rock-solid fundamentals with a bit of stardust on top. Now, the difference about this weekend is that France will have much more power to bring to the party than Japan did. France have got some big old units of their own. And guys like Emmanuel Meafu and Mikel Guillard, Gregory Aldrit, these guys can, Jean-Baptiste Gros, these guys can bend a defensive line. They can get a bit of front foot. And what South Africa, can they hold that defensive discipline together when they're maybe losing a few of the collisions? That's going to be absolutely massive to watch. Also, I do wonder, there's a bit of me just trying to get inside Rassie Erasmus's mind. Something many people try, but very few, if anyone, is ever able to. Only Rassie knows his own mind and what he's thinking. But one thought I had watching this game was I was struck by just how much South Africa were kicking. And all of the talk from France and France's fans, and I'm sure within the camp, I wouldn't mind betting a lot of the chat has been about how South Africa used the aerial game, those big crossfield bombs, led to 2 of the tries in that match. And bearing in mind it was a 1-point game, that is massive. I wouldn't mind betting that France are preparing for a massive aerial assault. And the week before, what are South Africa doing? A massive aerial assault. Could that be a double bluff? Do South Africa have something else up their sleeve? I do wonder. Are they shaping as if they're going to play that game and then they're going to flip it? Maybe. I think there could be a little surprise in store in that sense. But even the way South Africa played in this game, even if you know what's coming, it doesn't really matter, because it was simple but incredibly effective rugby. We sometimes make rugby way more complicated than it is. You see people online who do these videos about, look at this angle and that person running there and this person running there and that. Yeah, great. But fundamentally, rugby, when you bubble it down, is really, really simple. If you win collisions and you kick for territory and then have a rock solid defence, you are not going far wrong. And that doesn't matter whether you're playing at the very top of the game, as South Africa and France be this weekend, or whether you're my university team that I was coaching earlier today, or whether you're a kids team. Territorial dominance, physical dominance wins games, especially when there's really good discipline on top of it as well. And I thought it was a very, very impressive 80 minutes from South Africa that underlines they're in a good spot heading into France, who are playing their first game as a first team together since March. And I think South Africa will rightly go in favourites. And I just cannot wait for the game. To finish, though, I just want to talk about Sacha FM, my favourite radio station. I'm hearing kind of noises about arrogance or big for his boots, doing it for himself. And I have to disagree. I mean, I don't know where these noises are coming from. Is it online? Is it journalists? I don't know. I've met the guy briefly in the media box at Ellis Park, and he was incredibly humble and lovely. And he came up and spoke to me, and he spoke to other journalists, and just said, "I really appreciate what you do. Thank you very much." So just as a human being, he looks like a very humble guy. But more importantly, as a rugby player, in this match, in this 55 minutes that he was on the field, he played for his team. He was a part of that pressure application. He was the head of the boa constrictor that was squeezing the life out of Japan. Yes, he had some magic moments. The second try, was it the first try? I can't remember which one it was. The one where he just made the break, backed himself and went. But it looks to me like he was the conductor of that team. And what I want in a great fly half, whenever I played, is someone that would make good decisions and that would ultimately make me look better. And Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu in this game against Japan made the other players around him look better, I felt. And if he walks around with his chest puffed out and has confidence in his own ability, good. He should, because he's fantastic. And I'd liken it to Henry Pollock. I've been talking about this. I mean, Henry Pollock has a little bit more of that outward swagger. He'll go and he'll clap and he'll cheer and all that sort of stuff. But fundamentally, he's a nice lad and a really, really good rugby player. And how we can at the same time always talk about rugby doesn't have these superstars, and we don't have these big names that can really take the game to the next level. And then whenever someone does have a little bit of swagger about them and does have a bit of confidence, we then try and squeeze that out of them or act like it's something negative. We need to stop that as a sport, I think, because Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, it's early days in his career, and you know there's been a lot of people that have been great when they're young and haven't delivered on the promise. Think about guys like Carlos Spencer, an incredible player, probably didn't realise or achieve the accolades that his talent demanded. And there's a long way to go for Sacha FM, but we should celebrate guys like this because he's a rare and very, very special talent. I cannot wait to be in Paris. We'll wait and actually see what the teams are, I guess, as we get closer to that. And I'll be back to do a video on that when that happens. In the meantime, hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Let me know what you reckon in the chat down below, and I'll see you on the next one.